Hello, I'm the Braxman here with a Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we are going to be talking about Frozen Banshee, one of the greatest rares in the game. She is an amazing poisoner, does a lot of good things for my account, and should do the exact same for you guys as well. Well, let's go ahead and talk. We are going to be talking about how to build her, what are her skills, what masteries I would recommend, and then raid her and then test her off in the dragon dungeon. So with that, let's go ahead and start off talking about her skills. So we got her A1 Death Caress, which is attacks one enemy 2 times. Each has an 80% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns if the target is under a poison sensitivity. So right here we got a multi-hit, so 2 hit with a chance to put poison if you have a poison sensitivity on the target. This is based on the attack damage, or its damage is based off the attack, I mean. So we are wanting a lot of attack to get more damage put out because of the skill. So, and then it requires 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. Luckily she is a rare, so rare books are a little bit easier to come by. But definitely recommend getting those books out, trying to increase that chancing of from 90 to 100% chance of putting out that 5% poison whenever that poison sensitivity is out. Next we have her A2, Cruel Exaltation, which is attacks one enemy, fills the turn meter of all allies by 2% for each debuff on the target. So with this, we already got 1 hit, but we have to fill the turn meter by 2% for each debuff on the target. So best chance you're going to get as many debuffs on a target is bosses. Bosses tend to fill up lots and lots of debuffs, so this skill would be useful. With her AI, the A2 really rarely ever gets used. It's typically her A1 and A3 that always get used by the AI. A2, not so much, but if you are using it for maybe the arena, that's probably the best, or maybe your dragon or your dungeon teams, depending on what you want to do with that specific skill. Just realize dungeons or specific bosses would be the best use of this skill. It requires 4 books. Damage is based off attack and goes down from a 4-turn to a 3-turn cooldown. Now we have her A3, Frost Blight, which attacks one enemy and places a 25% poison sensitivity debuff for 2 turns. Notice that this doesn't have a chance to put that, but a flat 100% will happen if it attacks the enemy. You just have to make sure you have the accuracy to make sure you put out that debuff. It requires 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books. Can be booked down from a 5-turn cooldown to a 3-turn. So highly recommend, because the A1 does need that poison sensitivity to make sure those poisons do land. Next we have her Aura, which is increase ally accuracy in all battles by 35. That is pretty good, especially in Doom Tower. I know sometimes my champions do require a little bit more accuracy, so that can help top you off and get you that little extra push. So the reason why I mentioned her to be one of the best poisoners of the rare kind, and maybe even higher, is the fact that she has the poison and poison sensitivity. So poisons do a lot of damage, but if you can place it with the poison sensitivity, it just makes those poisons do a little bit extra more damage. If you were just to do a poison, let's say for example you have 100, one poison would do 20% of that 100%. Well, maybe with a poison sensitivity it does 25% of that 100, or 30. It gives you that little extra and allows you to do a little bit more damage. So highly recommend booking her up, getting that cooldown, so you can make sure you get that Frostbite out, so you can input that poison sensitivity out on those bosses or whoever you're going to be going against. Next, we are going to be talking about her mastery. So for her, I built her for clan boss and dungeon progression. So highly recommend going down the support and offensive side trees. For the support, I went the accuracy route. So getting that little base accuracy, then the charge focus, getting a little bit more. And then we went for the sniper, increasing the chance of placing any debuff from skills or artifacts. So a little bit more chance of placing that poison sensitivity because of the sniper. And then you have Master Hexer, being able to increase the duration of each of those debuffs by 1 turn. So being able to maybe go from a 2-turn cooldown, or 2 turns that debuff is on, to a 3 turns that debuff is on, which makes a big difference when putting lots of damage down. Then for the offensive side, I went the crit rate, crit damage, went to get bring it down, being able to put more damage out because I'm going against targets with higher max HP. Then we have methodical, really good general mastery right here. And since she only has a 2 hit, not necessarily a 3, I recommend going down the war mastery and getting this particular mastery. You can do Helm Smasher, that would not be a bad decision either, being able to ignore some defense, but we want to make sure each of those skills that are hit the target do the most damage. So with this build right here, I'm gonna have to fix it even just a teensy bit. Since I am running an unkillable comp, I want to make sure I use the Grim Resolve, because with an unkillable comp, you don't generally have 100% or nearing that with worth of health. So this would allow me to get a little bit more damage, but if you're going to have a lot of healers, trying to keep you at the 100% or as high as you possibly can, definitely make sure you keep it the Heart of Glory, being able to increase damage inflicted by 5% when attacking with full HP. So if you have healers keeping your HP at full level, this right here is a great mastery for you. But if you're going to be running with a low level, so unkillable for clan boss, do Grim Resolve. Now let's go ahead and talk about her gearing. So for her, you have 2 ways. So if you're going through clan boss, for example, you have an unkillable team, so that doesn't necessarily affect. You need to make sure you have enough health to be speed tuned correctly, but you don't necessarily need enough. We have 2 different ways of thinking when gearing her. So we have a build that means lots of HP but with lots of sustain capabilities, so keeping Frozen Banshee alive so that she can put out those poisons. Or you have a damage build, which is lots of attack, crit rate, crit damage, and that accuracy. For this build, I have the attack build. So lots of attack, crit rate, crit damage, and then accuracy to make sure we put out that damage as fast as possible. But I will talk about both ways. So for this, we are going to be talking about the get as much damage. So let's go ahead and talk about the stats. So I use her for an unkillable comp, so that means I need so much health and defense, so I make sure to get the minimum or the requirements for that. But beyond that, we are looking for lots and lots of attack. So you saw how each of those skills were based upon the attack. So the more attack, the more damage that my Frozen Banshee can do. Then you have your crit rate, being able to get that up to 100% or pretty close can help quite a lot, getting that damage out and allowing you to get as much damage out on the boss. Then if you crit damage, it does the same thing, be able to put even more damage out on the particular person that you're going against. And then last but not least, for the damage build, you are wanting the accuracy. So I have it extremely high. That is not necessarily needed. I really just use her for clan boss or the dragon. I definitely recommend about 220 to 250. That's generally where a good place is for accuracy. Now with the stages 21 to 25, you may need it up to the 300 mark. So now that I have it so high, might be actually useful. So that was the damage build. But if you're looking for a high sustain, so for high sustained Frozen Banshee, you are looking for lots of HP, lots of defense, and then maybe some attack, but you are mostly wanting the accuracy so you can stay alive, but yet you're putting out those poisons constantly, making sure that's always happening. So that would be a high sustain Frozen Banshee. And then make sure if you're doing a specific composition, you speed tune your Frozen Banshee to whatever you need. So for me, I need 175, so thus she's at 175. So now let's go ahead and look at her. Look at the pieces that we do have. So you have your accuracy banner. This is probably the best thing to have on her. You could have HP, defense, attack, but since you want all those debuffs, accuracy is probably the best way to go. Then you have your crit damage, being able to put as much damage out as possible. This is what helps you get that. Then you have your defensive. You could also do an attack ring as well, being able to put out a little bit more damage there. Then you have your speed, being able to make sure you're speed tuned. You have to make sure. Then whatever substats, I recommend maybe the defensive HP, making sure you get that crit rate up to 100%. That's also a great thing to have. So you can do an HP or defensive chest. I would probably recommend the defensive, just the way I did it, so you were able to stay alive just a teensy bit longer. And then you want crit rate gloves, always a great thing. Be able to get that as much damage as you possibly can outside of this build. Out of this build, not outside of it, but out of the build, getting that crit rate up to 100%. Quite nice with the speed, accuracy, and the what little substats you do require. And then you have your main big flat stats, defensive, HP, and attack. Getting the stats you need, so the crit rate to the crit damage and as much accuracy. And then whatever HP or defense you like as well. So I went with, so if you're going for a high sustain, you probably will want to go through a lifesteal set with maybe an accuracy set as well. Be able to stay alive by virtue of the 30% damage you deal, receiving that in health, and then accuracy to put out those poison debuffs. In my case, I went for damage, so that meant a little bit of cruel, so getting that attack up and being able to ignore 5% of the enemy defense, divine crit rate, so getting closer to that 100% crit rate, and then accuracy for the poison debuffs. So that is her gearing. Let's go ahead and rate her in various places. As I said, she is probably best against bosses, so the number one place for her of all places is the clan boss. Absolutely 5-star, way to go. I will definitely love that, her there. I use her quite a lot in there, so highly recommend you use her there as well. Dragon's Lair, always a great place for any poisoners. Tomb Lord, Frozen Banshee, all of a sudden I forget everyone else, a Cult Brawler, any poisoner is always really good against the Dragon Lair, so definitely a 5 right there. Faction Wars. This can be good, especially against those bosses within the Faction Wars, but since you are mostly facing waves, you lose the ability to hit hard and do the most damage with her builds because she doesn't have an AoE. She needs to put out that poison sensitivity before placing all those poisons, so there's a lot of requirements when facing waves. So I'll give her a 4, just because you do have some bosses in there. Minotaur's Labyrinth, everyone has to run through it. It's not necessarily if they're great in it, but I'll say okay, good. Campaign, you don't have an AoE. She can definitely do it, but not someone you'd want to always run in a campaign. So I'm going to go ahead and give her a 2 in that location. So she can do it, but not something you definitely want to try. Fire Knight, she can do, but because of off affinities, she isn't great. The one redeeming thing is that she does have poison and the fact that she does have a multi-hit, but it isn't enough hits to make it really useful for Fire Knight. So we're going to go ahead and give her a 2. Ice Golem, I actually really like her in there. I'm going to go ahead and give her a 4 in the Ice Golem. I use her quite commonly in the Ice Golem. That's probably beyond Clan Boss, Clan Boss Dragon. I probably use Ice Golem the 3rd most for my Frozen Banshee. Same thing, you got Arena, tons of waves. Not going to be your best bet, but she can do it. Spider's Den, AoE, lots of targets, not necessarily someone you're going to go against. HP burn is probably the best capabilities for HP or Spider or enemy max HP, and she is not either one of those. Arena defense, waves, not good. Spirit, you do have for the potion keeps, you are going against a main boss. At that point she does okay, but going through those waves. So we're going to go ahead and give every single one of these potion keeps a 3, since she can do it and is helpful there, but is definitely not going to be your #1 priority. Now let's go ahead and test her in the dragon. We're going to go ahead and submit that since we just rated her. And now let's go to the dragon. Well, I'm going to... Let's pull up dragon. Let's see. So I have this team. We're going fast, putting out that decreased turn meter with my Lysandra. Madame Sarah's decreased defense. With her, we're mostly using her for the end game. I sometimes switch out Frozen Banshee and Cold Heart. Either one really works well. So I use Frozen Banshee mostly just for the dragon. The wave progression, she has not really any usefulness. Everyone else does a lot better in that category. So her, we're just waiting until the boss, so I'm gonna hurry and play this, and then I'll catch you at the end when we are going up against the dragon, and then do a few manual runs with Frozen Banshee on recording. So with that, I'll be right back at the end when we are hitting the dragon itself. I am now back with the end of the dragon run. We are going against the dragon, so I thought I'll at least show you her skills in action. So I didn't catch it just in time, but we were able to use her A3 and hit the dragon, put out that poison sensitivity. Now we have to go through here. Let's go A1 with Elder Scarg. Decrease that turn meter if we can. Multi-hit there. And boom, we have Frozen Banshee. Let's go ahead and do the A1 multi-hit twice. So boom, since we had 100% because of her booking, we were able to put out that poison sensitivity and have both of those poisons come off and be put on the dragon. Then the decreased defense and decrease attack. Then we'll see about decreased speed with the A1. Nope. Then Lysandra, and voila. Boom, HP burn. So voila. Put on auto for a second. Wait. Let's see, Now we'll just see about using her A2. Voila. So we used her A3, A1. Let's go ahead and see what effect we have with her A2. So realize for every debuff we have, we got an extra 2% AoE fill on the turn meter. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we should get a 12% fill on turn meter. So if you cannot see, oh dang it. Please say I used it, but I think my Syl the Drakes was able to get a little bit extra turn meter, so I thought I would just wanted to show you how the A1, A2, and A3 worked from the Frozen Banshee. So with that, this will be the end of this video. Hey, I really hope this video about Frozen Banshee was quite helpful in regards to what you want of a build. So what her skills were, what her skills are, what masteries I recommend for her, what gear, and the 2 different ways you can gear her, and then testing her out and rating her out throughout all the different places within the game. So with that, I hope it was helpful, and if you'd like to see more content, please go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe to my channel so you can see that future content. And if you can, comment down below where do you use your Frozen Banshee. I know I use her in Clan Boss, and I'd love to hear from you guys as to where you use her. So with that, hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.